10 years ago, this company was 6 months from running out of money. People were crying in meetings, screaming at each other. The founders were watching their last euros burn, counting down to the day the whole thing collapsed. Last year, it sold nearly 11 billion euros worth of clothes. In France, the actual homeland of high fashion, it is now the single biggest player in fashion by revenue. Bigger than Amazon. And it didn't come out of Silicon Valley, or Shenzhen, or Paris, or Milan. It came out of Lithuania, a company most people can't spell, from a country most people can't point to on a map, quietly became the largest secondhand platform in all of Europe. Its name is Vinted, and the story of how it clawed its way back from near death is a masterclass in something most people never notice, because the most brilliant thing Vinted ever did was figure out how to charge you money without you ever feeling like you paid. You'll see it happen in this video, in real time, step by step. And by the end, you'll understand why a used clothes app is quietly trying to become the biggest fintech company in Europe. But first, you have to understand how close it came to never existing at all. It starts in 2008 with a woman named Milda Mitkute and a very ordinary problem. She's 21, she's moving into a smaller apartment, and she has too many clothes. Piles of them stacked up at her parents' place with nowhere to go. Most people would throw them out or haul them to a flea market. Milda has a different thought. What if there were a website where she could just sell them? At a party, she mentions the idea to her friend Justas Janauskas, a programmer, an IT guy. He's not convinced. So they do something simple. They ask the people at the party, do any of you have this same problem, a closet full of clothes you don't wear and can't sell? Nearly everyone does. That's the whole market research phase. A single question at a party. The next day, they start building. Within 2 weeks, the platform is online, under the Lithuanian name Mano Drabužiai, which just means my clothes. And it's rough. At launch, there is literally no buy button. But once it works, it really works. Milda sells around 40 of her own clothing items in the first week. Word spreads. And within 3 years, this little site becomes one of the 10 most popular websites in all of Lithuania. Here's the question that should be nagging at you, though. The same one that started nagging at Milda. Because it wasn't like the internet had no way to sell used clothes in 2008. eBay existed, Etsy existed, Craigslist existed, for the brave. So why would anyone need this? Why would this tiny Lithuanian site succeed where you'd expect it to get crushed? Milda decided to find out in the least scalable way imaginable. She personally called the people signing up. Her actual method was, hello, can we go for a coffee? One user at a time. Coffee date after coffee date. And what she discovered is the secret ingredient that everything else is built on. People didn't love the site because it was a store. They loved it because it was a community. Fashion fans talking to each other, hyping each other up, swapping tips. None of eBay's cold "what's your final price" haggling. None of Amazon's anonymous conveyor belt. Real people. To give you a sense of how much people wanted to talk, one reported record holder was a single Vinted chat with 10,000 messages. 10,000. So Vinted has the magic. It expands into one country after another. Germany first under the names Mamikreisel and Kleiderkreisel, then the Czech Republic, France, Poland, Austria, the United States. User numbers grow double digits every single year. In 2013 and 2014, it raises around 25 million euros from investors. And here's the problem hiding underneath all that growth. Vinted is barely making any money. Profit isn't even a fantasy yet. Buying and selling on the platform is completely free, and the tiny bit of ad revenue covers only about 20% of the costs. So they need a fix. And they look at what the competition does. eBay, Poshmark, and the answer seems obvious. Those platforms charge the seller a fee. You sell something, you hand over a cut. So Vinted does the obvious thing. In Germany, they slap a 20% selling fee on every sale. It nearly kills the company. Because think about how that feels. You list your old jacket, you finally sell it, and this app takes a fifth of your money. Sellers flee in droves. And here's the death spiral. No sellers means no clothes means no buyers, and no buyers means no reason for sellers to ever come back. The whole thing starts caving in on itself. Now the clock is really ticking. Vinted has maybe 6 months before every last euro is gone. This is the crying in meetings, screaming at each other phase. The nerves are shot. The company is dying. And this is the moment one of Vinted's investors, Eloise Dupuis, picks up her phone and dials a number in New York. The phone rings on the desk of a man named Thomas Plantenga. Dutch, sharp, and, crucially, available. He's just sold an e-commerce startup. He's between things. A little bit adrift, killing time riding his skateboard while he figures out what's next. He agrees to help. He flies to Vilnius. He becomes an advisor, and he delivers a rescue plan so blunt it comes in 3 heavy packages. Package 1, slash the costs, Plantenga cuts deep. 90 employees, more than a third of the entire staff, are let go. Almost every office outside Lithuania is shut down, and Lithuania is a small country, which makes this personal. He later tells interviewers he got kicked out of an Uber twice because the driver knew someone he'd fired. Package 2, and this one's a gamble that looks insane for a company this broke. He bets the last of the money on a massive marketing campaign. The coffers are nearly empty, and Plantenga convinces leadership to shovel what's left into advertising. In Germany, the ads run under the old Kleiderkreisel name. But the first 2 packages are just buying time. The real problem is still sitting there untouched. Vinted still has no working way to make money. Which brings us to package 3. The single move that changes everything. He kills the selling fee. Remember, the selling fee is the thing that nearly broke Vinted's neck. Plantenga scraps it entirely. Listing your clothes is free again, and instead he flips the entire model around. He moves the cost from the seller to the buyer. Starting in 2016, buyers pay a so-called buyer protection fee, 70 cents plus 5% of the purchase price. In exchange, Vinted guarantees you get your money back if your order is lost or damaged, and promises customer service if anything goes wrong. Whether that promise actually holds up, hold that thought. We're coming back to it. Now look closely at what he actually did here, because this is the whole trick, and it's psychological. It is almost the same amount of money. But a 20% fee on your sale feels like getting robbed. And a small fee so your purchase is protected feels like a service, like something being done for you. Same money, opposite feeling. That reframing saves the company. Because listing is free again, the sellers come pouring back. More sellers means more clothes. More clothes means more buyers. More buyers means it's even more attractive to sell there. The flywheel starts spinning, and this time it's spinning the right way. Plantenga's plan is the whole game changer. The guy who only meant to stay a few weeks gets promoted from advisor to head of sales to CEO. And then the timing gods show up too. 2019 is the year of Fridays for Future. Sustainability is suddenly cool, and secondhand is suddenly virtuous. Then the pandemic hits, and millions of bored people trapped at home start cleaning out their closets and dumping everything onto Vinted. Then inflation spikes, and suddenly buying used isn't just trendy, it's smart budgeting. Every single one of these waves pushes people straight to the app. In 2019, Vinted crosses a $1 billion valuation, Lithuania's first ever unicorn. In 2023, it turns a profit for the first time. The next year, profit more than quadruples. And in April of 2026, the valuation hits a record 8 billion euros, active in 26 countries. Plantenga's stated ambition from here is almost comical in scale. He's talking about reaching 40 to 50 billion in value, and long-term, he floats the number 100 billion euros. Which raises the obvious question. A 70-cent buyer protection fee is not how you build a 100 billion euro empire. So how does the math actually work? The answer is that Vinted has quietly turned itself into a machine that skims a little off almost everything you do on it, and most of it you'll never even notice. So let's actually go shopping, and I'll show you every single place it happens. Here's the first one, and it's wild. Vinted starts making money before I buy anything at all. It's the oldest trick there is, advertising. It's only a small slice of revenue, but it's easy money, and it goes deeper than banner ads. Say the sun's out in Frankfurt, and I want a pair of sunglasses. The pair near the top of my feed? That spot isn't luck. The seller paid a small fee to push their listing higher. Vinted makes money selling visibility. I click the sunglasses. I could haggle, but the price is fine. So I hit buy. And now a second line item appears. Shipping. Vinted auto-generates the shipping label for the seller. Slap it on, done. And even here, Vinted takes a cut. Because it strikes deals with the parcel carriers, buying delivery capacity in bulk at a discount, then pocketing the gap between that wholesale rate and what I paid for shipping. But Vinted looked at that shipping money and decided it wanted a much bigger slice of it. So in 2022, it launched its own logistics network, Vinted Go. More than 500,000 drop-off and pickup points in kiosks and supermarkets. Plus its own branded parcel lockers already live in 5 European countries, all designed to push its own delivery costs down and its margins up. And then it flings the doors open. Vinted now lets total strangers use that network to ship packages that have nothing to do with Vinted at all. That expansion was a genuine gamble. In 2021, the year before Vinted Go launched, the company hit record revenue and still crashed deep into the red. Over 118 million euros in losses, largely because of these logistics investments. But it paid off. Between 2022 and 2025, the number of parcels it handles nearly octupled, from 100 million to almost 800 million a year. Back to my cart. The total: €7 for the sunglasses, 1.50 for buyer protection, 5.49 for shipping, 13.54 total. Right now that payment runs through an external processor, but Vinted is racing to kill that dependency too with its own payment service, Vinted Pay. And this is where the used clothes app quietly reveals what it actually wants to be. Every transaction currently leaks fees to outside payment companies. With its own system, Vinted keeps those fees. But there's a sneakier reason. Right now, some users agree on a price in the chat and then complete the deal outside Vinted to dodge the buyer protection fee, which vaporizes Vinted's single most important income stream. So part of Vinted Pay is the Vinted wallet. Sellers keep their earnings inside the app and spend them again without ever cashing out. And it works. Roughly half of all sellers on Vinted use their earnings to buy again. The money never leaves the ecosystem. How big is the plan? One of their own job listings says the quiet part out loud. Their goal is to build the biggest fintech company in Europe. So this is not a secondhand app anymore. It's a secondhand app plus a logistics company plus a fintech startup stacked on top of each other. And yet, even with all of that, Plantenga's 100 billion dream is running straight into one enormous wall. Meet Leon. He bought a pair of Birkenstock sandals on Vinted, a pair that runs around €150 new. Leon paid 90. Great deal. Until the package arrived. The leather smelled wrong, not like leather at all. And the shoe didn't fit even though he'd tried the exact model on in an actual Birkenstock store. The realization hit. The shoes were fake. Too good to be true, he says, and honestly a little disgusted. And Leon is not alone. Alongside the fun Vinted haul unboxing videos, there's a whole undertow of scam warnings and complaints about garbage customer service. The scores tell the story. 2.4 out of 5 on Trustpilot. A brutal 1.04 stars on Trusted Shops. A failing grade. For most companies, that's embarrassing. For Vinted, it's existential. Because remember, its single most important revenue stream is literally a fee called buyer protection. And when Leon actually tried to use that protection, he was told there's a 2-week window in which he has to sort it out with the seller himself first. His response cuts right to it. If I paid for protection, I expect support to step in, not to do their job for them. Vinted's official line is that its teams step in as neutral mediators and review every case objectively based on what both sides provide. Now watch how Vinted does something almost impressive here. It turns its own trust problem into another revenue stream. In summer 2022, it spends over 30 million euros to buy a Hamburg-based platform called Rebel, specialists in second-hand designer fashion, because on pricier items it earns more per sale. But luxury is exactly where distrust bites hardest. Nobody spends thousands on a Gucci bag or an Omega watch without being sure it's real. So Vinted uses the Rebel expertise to offer authenticity checks. On orders over 100 euros, you can pay a €10 fee to have your purchase verified. Read that again. Vinted is now monetizing the very suspicion its own platform created. Smart. But the underlying trust problem isn't solved. It's just been turned into a product. And it's about to get worse because of the exact move that saved the company in the first place. Plantenga's genius fix was killing the selling fee to flood the platform with sellers. So to chase the 100 billion dream, they run that same play again, one level up. Vinted isn't just clothes anymore, it's electronics, books, hobby gear, collectibles, sports equipment, more categories, more listings, more users, more reach. But scaling the platform also scales its ugliest problem. Sexual harassment on Vinted is rising. Photos of women modeling the clothes they're selling have been ripped and reposted on porn sites. One affected woman, Mina Kamira, launched a petition demanding Vinted act, describing how targets get harassed, cornered, sent sexually harassing messages as a matter of routine. She is not a rare case, and nearly 50,000 people have signed. Vinted says it works to flag suspicious users at registration and uses automated systems to detect and remove harmful content, up to banning accounts. A real structural fix clearly looks like something more than that. And here the whole story tightens into a single knot. Everything that makes Vinted money, more reach, more categories, more users, more transactions, also manufactures more of the exact thing that can kill it: fraud, abuse, distrust. And distrust is poison to this business specifically, because distrust stops the one action the entire empire is built on. It stops you from clicking buy. There's a final, chilling reminder of that. As the team was finishing this story, screenshots began circulating on social media of deeply disturbing Vinted listings. Stuffed animals priced at several thousand euros with bizarre descriptions that many people read as signs of possible child trafficking. Important, sober caveat. As of this writing, none of it is confirmed. There's no evidence of an actual crime. Police are still investigating, and similar scares on other sites like Etsy have surfaced before and dissolved without substance. Police advise not to share such listings, not even as screenshots, but to report them instead. But even an unproven accusation like that is exactly the kind of thing that eats away at the one thing Vinted cannot survive without. Because strip away the logistics network, the payment system, the luxury vertical, the 100 billion euro dreams. And what is Vinted actually selling? Trust. Trust that the stranger mailing you a jacket is real. Trust that the leather is leather. Trust that when it goes wrong, someone has your back. Vinted built an 8 billion euro machine out of near bankruptcy by making paying feel like being protected. The whole empire is standing on that one feeling. The only question left is how long it can keep it.